There's a reason why some people wake up at 5 a.m. with fire in their eyes while others hit snooze 5 times and dread the day ahead. It's not genetics. It's not luck. It's purpose. When you have a reason that matters, everything changes. You don't need motivation. You have momentum. You don't need constant reminders. You are the reminder. And that's what building a winning mindset starts with. It doesn't begin with a planner. It doesn't start with a new workout or a self-help book. It starts with a simple, often uncomfortable question. Why am I doing this? We live in a world obsessed with the how to get more done, how to wake up earlier, how to build habits, how to stay productive. But here's the truth. No amount of how will matter if you don't understand your why. Because purpose is what gives your actions meaning. It's what gives the struggle context. Without it, discipline feels like a punishment. But with it, discipline becomes a declaration. Think about a firefighter running into a burning building. To an outsider, that looks insane. But to the firefighter, it makes perfect sense. Why? Because they're not focused on the fire. They're focused on who they're going in for. Purpose reframes the problem. It doesn't make the fire less hot, but it makes the fear worth facing. Now apply that to your life. You want to build a winning mindset in 30 days? Start by finding the fire worth running into. Find something that makes the struggle worth it. This isn't about chasing success. It's about defining what success means to you in the first place. If your definition of success is just borrowed from what you've seen online, you'll quit the first time it gets hard. But if your success is rooted in something personal, something emotional, then you'll keep going even when there's no applause, no likes, and no one watching. Purpose is what carries you through the silence. And here's the thing, your why doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't have to be noble or world-changing. It just has to be honest. For some, it's proving to themselves that they can become the person they once doubted they could be. For others, it's being an example to their kids or honoring the sacrifices someone made for them. Some people are driven to change the world. Others are driven to change their family story. Both are valid. What matters is that it comes from within. So, how do you find your why? You start by listening. Not to the noise around you, but to the quiet inside you. Ask yourself, what breaks my heart? What lights me up? What would I keep doing even if I never got paid for it? What's the story I want to tell with my life when it's all said and done? If you've never asked yourself those questions, that's okay. But understand, until you do, your mindset will always be reactive, not resilient. You'll keep drifting instead of directing. A person with a strong why can endure almost any how. Think about it. Look at the people who've overcome the odds. People who came from nothing. People who fought back after failure, heartbreak, loss. They didn't have perfect plans. They didn't always know what step came next, but they knew why they couldn't quit. They had something inside of them stronger than the obstacle in front of them. And that's the essence of a winning mindset, the ability to choose meaning over mood, purpose over pressure. Purpose makes your decisions easier. It silences distractions. It gives you a filter to measure everything through. If something doesn't align with your why, you let it go. That's not discipline. That's direction. A compass, not a cage. Purpose doesn't restrict you. It frees you from wasting time on things that don't move you forward. And here's the other thing. Your why isn't a one-time discovery. It's a relationship. You don't find it and then forget it. You revisit it. You refine it. You reconnect with it. Because life changes. Seasons change. You grow, and your purpose grows with you. What drove you 5 years ago might not drive you today. That's not failure, that's evolution. If you want to change your mindset in 30 days, great. But don't just change what you do, change why you do it. Otherwise, you're just painting the walls of a house with a broken foundation. Your routines, your habits, your plans, they're only as strong as the reason behind them. Purpose turns random effort into aligned energy. It turns a goal into a mission. And when your actions are tied to a mission, you show up differently. You speak differently. You think differently. You treat setbacks as data, not defeat. You stop chasing motivation and start living from intention. That's when people start to notice something different about you. They'll ask what you're doing, but the truth is, it's not about what you're doing. It's about what you believe. And belief is contagious. When you know your why, you become magnetic. You don't just attract attention, you inspire direction. You lead even without trying to. That's the power of starting with why. It's not just a mindset hack. It's the foundation of every strong leader, every resilient soul, every lasting change. So if you're serious about building a winning mindset, don't start with your schedule. Start with your soul. Ask the hard questions. Get clear. Get honest. Because the strength of your mindset will always be rooted in the strength of your purpose. Purpose isn't optional, it's oxygen. And once you breathe it in, there's no going back to sleepwalking through your life. Every day, we have conversations with the most influential person in our lives. And most of us don't even realize it. That person is ourselves, our internal dialogue, the stories we tell ourselves, the words we repeat quietly, the beliefs we've absorbed shapes everything. It shapes our confidence, our choices, our relationships, and our future. If you want to build a winning mindset, you have to begin with the voice in your head, because belief is not a luxury. Belief is a necessary. Here's the truth most people never stop to realize. Belief is not something you either have or you don't. It's something you build. And that means anyone can do it. It's not about being born confident. It's about choosing to believe before the evidence shows up. That's the paradox of growth. You don't wait for proof to believe. You believe to create the proof. Now, it's easy to say, I just don't believe in myself. The real question is why? Where did that doubt come from? You weren't born doubting yourself. You learned to doubt. You learned it from rejection, from failure, from the time someone told you you weren't good enough. And over time, that voice stuck. It started sounding like your own voice, but it was never really yours. And the good news is, if it was learned, that's the work of building a winning mindset. It's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about returning to the truth of who you are before the world got in your head, before insecurity took root, before fear became a habit. And it starts with paying attention to the script you're running on autopilot. If every time you face a challenge, your brain says, I'm not ready, I always mess this up, or I knew I couldn't do it, then guess what? You're reinforcing failure before it even happens. That's not intuition, that's conditioning. You wouldn't let someone speak to your best friend the way you speak to yourself, so why allow it in your own mind? This is the shift that changes everything. Talk to yourself like someone you are responsible for, not someone you're trying to fix or criticize, but someone you're trying to protect, someone you're trying to build. Because you are. You're building yourself, day by day, word by word. Let me be clear, this isn't about being delusional. It's not about standing in front of a mirror saying things you don't believe. It's about speaking the truth in a way that builds you. It's about replacing old scripts with empowering ones. Instead of, I'm not good at this, you say, I'm still learning. Instead of, I always fail, you say, I'm figuring it out. Instead of, who am I to try this, you say, who am I not to? Language matters. Words shape reality. What you repeat becomes your reality. The most successful people in the world are not the smartest, they're not the most talented, they're the ones who learned how to manage the narrative between their ears. Because that narrative determines whether you see a setback as a sign to stop or a signal to grow. And winning mindsets, they don't avoid failure, they expect it, they welcome it, because they know belief is not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. Let's make it practical. Imagine if for the next 30 days you spoke to yourself like someone who's capable, someone who adapts, someone who shows up no matter what. Imagine what would happen If you stopped waiting for confidence to show up after results and instead treated confidence like a decision, not a feeling, a decision. You wake up and you decide to believe in the version of yourself you're building, not the version others have labeled you. People will call it arrogance. Let them. Because what they're really uncomfortable with is your refusal to stay in the box they built for you. And that's okay. You're not building a mindset for them. You're building it for you. You're rewriting the rules for how you see yourself. And when that changes, everything changes. Here's another truth. You won't always feel strong. That's normal. You'll have days when the voice of doubt gets loud, but that's not failure. That's practice. Every time you choose belief over fear, you're training your brain to operate at a higher level. You're creating neural pathways that say, I keep going. And that repetition, that's where confidence is born. Confidence is not loud, it's not showy, it's quiet. It's the calm in your chest when the world gets noisy. It's the inner voice that says, we've been here before, we'll figure it out again. That's what belief gives you. Not perfection, not certainty, but resilience. And the beautiful thing is, once you begin to believe in yourself, the world starts to shift around you. Not because the world changes, but because you do. You start to walk with your head up. You speak with clarity. You take risks. You say yes to things you used to run from. You say no to things that no longer serve you. And others feel that. They respond to it because belief isn't just personal, it's powerful. It inspires others to believe too. So if you want to build a winning mindset, remember, it starts with the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. And like any relationship, it takes consistency, honesty, and care. Speak to yourself with intention. Interrupt the old stories. Replace them with words that reflect where you're going, not where you've been. Because belief isn't something you wait for. It's something you choose daily, deliberately. And when you do, you begin to see something extraordinary. The person you were always capable of becoming. And that person, we've been conditioned to think discomfort is a sign that something is wrong, that we should avoid it, that ease equals success, and that anything that makes us feel uncertain or exposed must be a red flag. But what if we've got it completely backwards? What if discomfort isn't the problem, but the pathway? The truth is, every meaningful transformation in your life is on the other side of discomfort. Every skill you've ever learned, every breakthrough you've had, every goal you've achieved started with a moment that felt uncomfortable, awkward, risky, maybe even terrifying. But you did it anyway. And because you did, you grew. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It never has, and it never will. The comfort zone is where you stay when survival is your goal. But a winning mindset isn't built on survival, it's built on evolution. It's not about staying the same, it's about becoming more. And becoming more always requires stepping into the unknown. But here's where people get stuck. They think discomfort is a sign they're not ready. That they should wait until it feels easier. That the fear needs to go away first. But the people who win, the people who build unstoppable momentum, they've figured something out. It's not about waiting for the fear to leave. It's about learning to move with it. You'll never be fearless. And that's not the goal. The goal is to be brave. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of it. It's standing in front of something that makes your hand shake and your heart race and saying, this matters more than my comfort. Think about anyone you admire, an athlete, a leader, a creative, an entrepreneur. You know what they all have in common? At some point, they felt out of their depth. They didn't know how it would turn out. They didn't have a safety net. But they stepped forward anyway, not because it was easy, but because they were committed to growth, because they understood that pressure is what turns coal into diamonds. It's what turns doubt into discipline. And maybe that's the real measure of a winning mindset. Not how often you win, but how often you're willing to lose in the name of progress. Not how many times you avoid fear, but how many times you choose to engage with it. Not because you enjoy it, but because you understand its purpose. Discomfort is a teacher. It exposes your limits. But more importantly, it shows you where the limits aren't. It reveals the parts of you that still need strengthening, the beliefs that need rewriting, the patterns that need breaking. Discomfort is data. And if you're brave enough to pay attention to it, it'll guide you straight to the next level. But most people don't listen. They run. They distract themselves. They numb the feeling. They wait for things to be just right. And in doing so, they miss the opportunity. They stay stuck, safe, unchallenged, but also unchanged. You cannot grow and stay comfortable at the same time. You have to pick one. And the good news, the more you choose discomfort intentionally, the less intimidating it becomes. You start to see it differently. You start framing it as pain and start seeing it as preparation. You start to notice that every moment of doubt is also a moment of potential. That every difficult conversation is an opportunity to build courage. That every failure is just feedback. Not a judgment, not a verdict, just a mirror showing you where to grow. There's no shortcut here. There's no secret sauce. It's repetition. It's leaning into discomfort often in that it becomes familiar. Not because it ever gets easy, but because you've changed your relationship with it. You've stopped making it the enemy. You've started seeing it as a signal that you're doing something worth doing. When you're uncomfortable, it means you're stretching. You're stepping into a new identity. And that's never going to be smooth. It's messy, it's unpredictable, but it's also where transformation happens. Think about a seed planted in the dirt. It has to break through its shell, it has to push through the soil, it has to fight toward the light. That process is violent. It's gritty, but it's also beautiful, because without the discomfort, the seed stays a seed. And you, without leaning into what challenges you, you stay a version of yourself that's easy but incomplete. And make no mistake, comfort is seductive. It's easy to convince yourself that it's fine to stay where you are, to coast, to stay at a job that doesn't stretch you, to hold back your opinion because you don't want to rock the boat, to avoid starting the project, the conversation, the change, because now isn't the right time. But the right time rarely announces itself. Growth doesn't RSVP. It shows up uninvited, often dressed as fear. And your willingness to engage with it determines the quality of your life. So here's the shift. Instead of asking, how can I avoid discomfort? Start asking, where is discomfort trying to lead me? What's the challenge I've been avoiding? What's the fear I've been protecting? What's the stretch I know I need to make? Because the mindset you build in those moments, the resilience, the trust in yourself, the ability to stay grounded when everything feels uncertain, that's the foundation of winning. Not the result, not the recognition, but the process of becoming someone who can handle more, who wants more, who's willing to grow no matter what it costs. And let's be honest, growth costs something. It costs ease, it costs certainty, it costs the illusion of control. But in return, it gives you strength. It gives you purpose. It gives you the quiet confidence of someone who knows they can handle whatever comes next. So if you're uncomfortable right now, good. That means you're on the right track. Don't run from it. Run with it. Because on the other side of discomfort is everything you've been asking for, the mindset. The results, the version of you you've always known you could become. And it starts not by avoiding the hard stuff, but by embracing it. People often say they want to change their lives. They want to grow, to succeed, to become the kind of person who is focused, consistent, and unstoppable. And then they wait. They wait for the right moment, the perfect plan, the motivation, the spark. But here's what separates those who only talk about change from those who actually create it. Action. Not just any action, intentional action, taking consistently, especially when it's not convenient. Because discipline isn't just about doing the hard things. It's about doing the right things repeatedly, even when no one's watching. Especially then. We live in a world that idolizes intensity, big moves, bold leaps, the grand gesture. But when it comes to building a winning mindset, intensity is overrated. Consistency is what creates transformation. Because anyone can be great for a day. But it's what you do day after day that writes the story of your life. Not the highlight reel, not the moment of glory, the process, the unglamorous, often unseen commitment to keep showing up. And here's the truth. Most people won't. Most people get inspired for a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks. But then life gets busy, results take time, and suddenly that initial spark burns out. That's where discipline steps in. It's the bridge between inspiration and execution, between a wish and a reality. People love to say, I just need to get motivated. But motivation is fleeting, it's emotional. Discipline is a decision. It's a contract you make with your future self. It says, no matter how I feel today, I will do what needs to be done. Because the version of you you're becoming is counting on the version of you today to follow through. Let's be honest, discipline isn't sexy. It's repetitive. It's quiet. It's often thankless. But it builds character, it builds momentum, and it builds results. You don't need to do it all at once. You just need to do the next right thing. The small thing, the boring thing, the thing that doesn't feel like it matters in the moment. But that, compounded over time, changes everything. People often underestimate the power of small, consistent effort. They think if it's not dramatic, it's not working. But look at nature, look at how water carves through rock, not by force, but by persistence. That's what daily, intentional action looks like. Not dramatic, but undeniable. Think about a sculptor working with a block of marble. The first swing of the hammer doesn't reveal the masterpiece. Neither does the second, or the 10th. But every strike matters. Every chip brings the vision closer to reality. Your habits, your routines, your choices. They're the tools. The marble is your potential. And the process? That's discipline in motion. It's easy to romanticize the destination. You get fixated on the outcome. But a winning mindset doesn't obsess over results. It obsesses over effort. It trusts that if you keep showing up, the outcome will take care of itself. It understands that the goal is not to be perfect, it's to be present. Present enough to keep taking the next step, even when it's not exciting, especially then. Now here's the part most people miss. Discipline doesn't mean you never struggle. It doesn't mean you never miss a day. It means you don't let one bad day become your new normal. It means you don't negotiate with excuses. You fall, yes, but you get back up faster. You don't make quitting a habit. You make recovering a habit. Because the discipline isn't just in the doing, it's in the returning. And it's not about hustle culture. It's not about burning out to prove a point. It's about alignment. It's about choosing the habits and actions that reflect who you want to be and then building your life around them. Discipline without alignment is punishment. But discipline with alignment, that's purpose in action. That's integrity. So how do you build this kind of daily momentum? You start by simplifying. Don't try to do everything. Just commit to doing something every day that moves you forward. Maybe it's 10 minutes of reading. Maybe it's one phone call you've been avoiding. Maybe it's a workout or a journal entry or just showing up on time. Small wins